Hey friends, welcome back to College Sports Corner. I'm Barry. Hey, we made it to Friday. The weekend is finally here. Work is done. We got a bunch of football this weekend to get to. Hey, if you like the show, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a show. We got a lot of news and headlines to get to and some games to preview. So let's get to it right now. Big 12 today voted to add BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida to the conference. So that's all good for them. Some sad news this week. A few things here. Former Notre Dame halfback and coach Terry Brennan died this week. He was 93. If I remember right, he played back in the 40s on a couple of Notre Dame undefeated teams. Went on later to coach Notre Dame to a couple of undefeated teams, I think it was. So prayers to his family. Another one, College Football Hall of Famer Sam Bam Cunningham, who played at USC, died. He was 71. He was on that 72 national championship team. He was an All-American that year. They beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl that season to win the national title. He scored 4 touchdowns in that game. One more bit of news. ESPN analyst Todd McShay announced that he is going to take a leave of absence to focus on his health or his family. I never heard what was going on there, but I always liked Todd. He's pretty good, so prayers to his family about hope they can get through whatever they're going through right now. As of yesterday, quarterback JT Daniels is questionable. Evidently, he got hurt in preseason back when Kirby Smart was working the hell out of those guys. I guess he re-aggravated the injury last week versus Clemson. So he's questionable whether or not he's going to play tomorrow. That'll be, I guess, a game time decision or something. Hey, here's something cool. This is pretty neat. Fordham linebacker Ryan Greenhagen had 31 tackles against Nebraska last week. It's an NCAA Division I record. Fordham lost that game anyway, but still, to have 31 tackles in the game, that's pretty impressive. The Redbox Bowl may be canceled this season. If it is, that would knock the bowl number down to 41 bowls. So I remember back when there was only about 19 bowls. Okay, no games last night. I guess it's Thursday night opening for the NFL. I don't know why they don't have college games. Plenty of us out there would watch the college game instead of the NFL. But for some reason, college football bows down to them and says, oh, we won't play that night. But, my book, NFL can go to hell. So, hey, that rhymed. So, game day tomorrow will be at the Iowa State game. That'll be a pretty good one. SEC Nation will be Arkansas and Texas. That could be a good one. Big Ten tailgate will be at the Michigan State Youngstown State game. And Fox Big Noon kickoff will be at the Ohio State Oregon game. That one ought to be a pretty good one too. Okay, tonight you got 4 games. 7:30 Eastern, ESPN2. Kansas at Coastal Carolina. Kansas is looking to get that one winning streak going, keep it going, Coastal Carolina is good again this year, as always. And last year they beat Kansas by 2 touchdowns, but we'll see what happens. 8 Eastern, ACC Network, North Carolina A&T at Duke. Both teams lost their opener last week. Duke has a weapon, though. Running back Mateo Durant. Last week he had 255 yards and 3 touchdowns in their loss to Charlotte. This is the second meeting between these two. Duke won 45-13 2 years ago. Let's see. 9 o'clock Eastern. North Dakota at Utah State. Both teams 1-0. Utah State trying to avoid becoming another FBS team, losing to an FCS team. We've had, 6 or 7 so far in these first couple weeks. 9:30 Eastern on FS1. UTEP at Boise State. Miners got off to a good start this year. They're 2-0. They have played some teams that are a little bit below their competition level, but hey, Boise State lost to Central Florida, so that shows Boise State is beatable. And that's it for tonight, yeah. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, ACC Network, Illinois at Virginia. Illinois defense is going to be tested because Virginia offense is a lot better than UTSA's was last week. 11:30 Eastern on ESPN3, VMI at Kent State. VMI is 1-0. Kent State is 0-1. Lost to A&M last week. 11:30 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Western Kentucky at Army. Both teams are 1-0. 12 noon Eastern on the SEC Network. Alabama State at Auburn. Auburn's coming off a 60-10 beatdown over Akron. Alabama State needed overtime last week to win by 1 over a Division II school. So, whoo. Last week, Tigers quarterback Bo Nix had 275 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network, Indiana State at Northwestern. Indiana State looking to be another FCS team to beat an FBS team. And the way Northwestern played last week, it's a possibility they could do that. Since 2016, Northwestern is 4-10 in September. That's not too good. Noon Eastern, I couldn't find anything on TV. Kennesaw State at Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets were 18-point favorites last week and lost. Kennesaw State's first game ever against a Power 5 school. I didn't know that. Noon Eastern on ESPNU. Miami of Ohio at Minnesota. Gophers without that great running back, Mohamed Ibrahim. He's out for the season. Redhawks lost to Cincinnati last week, 49-14. They were down 35-0 at the half. These two have played each other 4 times, and the Gophers have won all 4. Noon Eastern on ACC Network. Norfolk State at West Forest. Spartans are 0-1. Demon Deacons are 1-0. Norfolk State didn't play last season. I guess they opted out because of the COVID thing. One of the big ones here, noon Eastern on Fox, Oregon at Ohio State. This game last year they were supposed to play, I guess it was in Eugene. It got canceled because of COVID. Both teams were tested last week. Both of them had a tough time there at the beginning of their games, but they finally pulled it out and won them. Oregon defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau may play. They're not sure. He's got a sprained left ankle. If I remember right, what they said, the x-rays were negative on it, so it's a good chance he could play, and they're going to need him for that game. Buckeye quarterback C.J. Stroud, he had a shaky opening there at Minnesota, but he finally started pulling it out and playing a little bit better. Ducks are 0-9 versus the Buckeyes all time. Noon Eastern on ESPN, Pitt and Tennessee. The Majors Classic, they're calling it. Coach Johnny Majors coached at both those schools, and I think Johnny Majors won a national championship at Pitt in 76 with Tony Dorsett and those guys. Both teams are 1-0. Josh Heupel looking for a second win with the Vols head coach. Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett has 256 passing yards in his Pitt career, 8 games. Vols have a good defensive back in the secondary, though. Theo Jackson had 11 tackles last week. Noon Eastern on ESPN2, South Carolina at East Carolina. Gamecocks have won 14 of the last 19 between these two schools. They have won the last 4 meetings in that one. Interstate rivalry, I guess it is. Or is East Carolina might be North Carolina. I'm not sure. Greenville, yeah, I think it is. Noon Eastern on FS1, Tulsa at Oklahoma State. Both teams didn't play very well last week. Tulsa lost to UC Davis. They were one of those FCS over FBS casualties. Cowboys lead the in-state battle 42-27 and 5 ties all time. Noon Eastern on Big Ten Network. Youngstown State at Michigan State. Both teams are 1-0. Michigan State running back Kenneth Walker looks to improve on his 264-yard and 4-touchdown performance over Northwestern. And being Youngstown State, I know they've had some history of being really good. They've won some national championships. Honestly, I don't know how they've done lately. I don't think I've seen them go deep in the playoffs. So, Spartans running back, he could do that. 1 p.m. Eastern on ABC, Florida at South Florida. Supposedly, I've heard and I've read there may be a quarterback controversy at Florida. Evidently, I didn't see that game last week, but evidently both quarterbacks at Florida played pretty well, and Dan Mullen's still trying to decide who's going to start that game. These two played each other one at a time in the Gator Bowl in 2010, and Florida won. 1 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Morgan State at Tulane. That game will be played at legendary Legion Field in Birmingham because of all the stuff still happening down there in New Orleans from Hurricane Ida. I guess Tulane can't go back to their stadium right now. Hopefully they will be soon. 1:30 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus. Wyoming at Northern Illinois. Both teams are 1-0. 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3. Duquesne at Ohio. Both teams looking for their first win this season. 2 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Middle Tennessee at Virginia Tech. Both teams 1-0. Keep an eye on this one. In 2016 and 2018, the Hokies lost after handing a loss to another big-time top-ranked team. So they beat North Carolina last week. This could be a letdown. History says it could be, so watch out. This is the first meeting between these two teams. 2 p.m. Eastern, ACC Network. Rutgers at Syracuse. Both won last week. Orangemen are playing for the first time in front of fans in their Carrier Dome since 2019. 2:30 Eastern on, it says PEAC, I'm guessing that's Peacock Streaming or whatever it is. Toledo and Notre Dame. Says it'll be on the premium package if you want to pay for that, which, don't get me started on streaming. I've had a couple that were junk, and all these networks want you to keep buying them, paying for their streaming services, and it's not on regular TV. I ain't watching it, so screw all that streaming crap. Irish went up on an 18-point lead last week against FSU before FSU came storming back and lost in overtime. Rockets have a good defense and special teams, but Toledo's 9-17 against top 25 teams. An Achilles heel for them. 3 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Network, Purdue at Connecticut. Purdue 1-0, UConn 0-2, which probably led to Randy Edsall stepping down now instead of at the end of the season, like he said he was going to do. He's going to retire at the end of the season. Purdue quarterback Jake Plummer threw for 313 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. And I had to look. That's not Jake the Snake Plummer's son. They just share the same last name, but it would have been pretty cool if it was. 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN3, Robert Morris at Central Michigan. This is the Colonials' first game this season. Central Michigan is 0-1. 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Air Force and Navy. That's a pretty cool game. There's happening on the anniversary of 9/11 and all that. Those two teams playing. And they're both going to have special uniforms for this game to honor the tragedy that happened 20 years ago. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they do their uniforms up to pay tribute. Okay, 3:30 Eastern on FS1. Ball State at Penn State. Nittany Lions coming off that brutal defensive game last week against Wisconsin. You know, Penn State only had the ball for 17 minutes last week and still pulled it out. And Wisconsin had it for 41 minutes and they couldn't do anything with it. That's crazy, isn't it? I didn't know this either. This is the first game in front of fans at Beaver Stadium in almost 2 years. I didn't know that. I thought they had some games there where they had fans in the stands. Ball State is last season MAC champions, so watch out. Tough team there. 3:30 Eastern on FlowStream. Another one of those FlowStream streaming services. Boston College at UMass. Boston College 1-0. Massachusetts is 0-1. Last week, BC quarterback Phil Javorik had 303 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. UMass has lost 12 straight and lost the last 10 times they played Boston College. 3:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network. Buffalo, Nebraska. Cornhuskers had 633 total yards last week. Buffalo is 3-14 all-time against current Big Ten team members. So 3:30 Eastern, ESPNU. California, TCU. Both teams looking for a good season. They've kind of had dismal ones these last few. They've only met once in the 2018 Cheez-It Bowl, and TCU won that game. 3:30 Eastern, no TV found if you're a Georgia Southern or Florida Atlantic fan. Sorry about that. Eagles are 1-0. Owls are 0-1. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Murray State at Cincinnati. Both teams are 1-0. You know, something that amazes me about Cincinnati, Luke Fickell, since I guess he kind of got pushed out of Ohio State in favor of Ryan Day a few years ago. He's done a hell of a job there at Cincinnati. I can't believe no big-time schools who are looking for a coach have come and grabbed this guy yet. You know, the way some of these teams are playing so far this year, he may have his chance. But they are going to a Big 12, so I don't know if that would make a difference if he'd want to leave or not. Who knows? Maybe he wants to come back south where it's a little bit warmer. I have no idea, but yeah, it really surprised me that no big teams have grabbed him over the last couple of years. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Temple at Akron. Both teams are 0-1. Temple had 5 turnovers against Rutgers last week. That's their Achilles heel. Akron fell behind 37-0 at halftime and lost by 50 to Auburn. So they got a lot of work to do in the next 24 hours, probably less than that. 3:30 Eastern on Fox. Texas A&M and Colorado, old Big 12 matchup. Aggies started off slow against Kent State, had me worried, but then I thought last year they started off slow against Vanderbilt in their first game, but they need to stop that crap before they start hitting Alabama and some of these bigger teams. Buffalo had 12. God, listen to this. Buffaloes had 12 penalties for 118 yards last week against Northern Colorado. I wonder if they had to run some bleachers after that game. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN2, UAB at Georgia. As we mentioned, JT Daniels is going to be questionable. I guess Kirby Smart's going to make a game time decision about whether or not he's going to play. Bulldogs defense was great last week, but the offense kind of struggled. So if JT Daniels doesn't play, makes you wonder what that offense is going to look like. Bulldogs, they also have 3 or 4 other guys out with COVID, plus preseason injuries from that tough preseason camp they had. Blazers had 518 total yards last week, and they are the defending Conference USA champions. So, if you don't watch this game, that's one to be keeping an eye on your phone or wherever you keep track of scores while you're watching football throughout the day, because this could turn into an interesting situation here. 4 p.m. Eastern, SEC Network, Mercer at Alabama. Both teams are 1-0. Something for you to worry about, Bama. Mercer had 778 total yards last week. Bama only had 501 yards. So Bama fan, he might be a little nervous, a little sweat under the collar over this one, though. 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, South Alabama at Bowling Green. Jaguars are 1-0, beat Southern Miss last week by 24. Falcons are 0-1, lost to Tennessee last week by 32. 4:30 Eastern on ABC. This is one I'm looking forward to. Iowa and Iowa State. Good interconference rivalry. They play for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Last week, Iowa just totally dominated Indiana. Iowa State, they started off kind of slow. They only won by, I forget how much they only won by, but it wasn't much. It didn't look like the Iowa State team that we saw the year before. Iowa leads the series 45-22, like I said, for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN3. Illinois State at Western Michigan. Redbirds won by 42 last week against Butler, and Broncos lost by 33 to Michigan in their openers. 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Long Island Post at West Virginia. I'm seeing this Long Island team come up a lot these last couple of weeks. Like I said, I haven't heard of them before. Maybe they just started playing football here in the last year or two. But both teams are looking for their first win this year. 5 p.m. Eastern, ACC Network, South Carolina State at Clemson. It's going to be interesting to see how Clemson bounces back from that loss against Georgia. That was a pretty tough game. I think they probably will. I mean, Clemson is 4-0 against South Carolina State all time. But something interesting here last week, the Bulldogs had 455 total yards. Tigers only had 180 total yards. So that could be something, could be not. You know, Clemson may be pissed. They may come out and just hammer the hell out of South Carolina State. 6 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3. Gardner-Webb at Charlotte. 49ers coming off that win against Duke last week. 6 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3. Lamar at UTSA. Both teams are 1-0. Roadrunners had that great win against Illinois up in Champaign last week, so they're on a roll. 6 p.m. Eastern, Pac-12 Network. Portland State at Washington State. Portland State had 477 total yards last week. 400 were passing in their loss to Hawaii. Washington State had 360 total yards last week in their loss to Utah State. Late game last week. 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Bethune Cookman at Central Florida. Central Florida's coming off that thrilling overtime win against Boise State. 6:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Houston at Rice. Both teams are coming off an opening week loss. This is the Bayou Bucket, we call it here in Houston. They play for the Bayou Bucket. Houston played tough against Texas Tech that first half and then kind of just fell off, as Rice did against Arkansas, and they kind of fell off. So I guess whoever doesn't fall off is going to win this game. 6:30 Eastern, ESPN Plus. North Carolina Central at Marshall. Both teams are 1-0. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Appalachian State at Miami. Keep an eye on the score on this one. Appalachian State had 485 total yards last week. Miami only had 266. Appalachian State has beat some big-time teams in the past, Michigan and North Carolina. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can do it to Miami. If Miami still has an Alabama hangover, because as much as coaches try to stop that, you know it does happen sometimes. 7 p.m. Eastern, ACC Network, Eastern Kentucky at Louisville. Louisville's looking for its first win of the season. 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1, Eastern Michigan and Wisconsin. Badgers coming off that brutal defensive battle against Penn State last week. We'll see how they're going to be. And like I said before, Badgers they had the ball for 41 minutes last week and still lost that game. That just blows my mind. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3, Grambling at Southern Miss. Grambling's looking for another FBS upset to add to the list this year. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3, Hampton at Old Dominion. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Liberty at Troy. Both teams are 1-0. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Memphis at Arkansas State. Both teams are undefeated. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN2, North Carolina State at Mississippi State. Last week, Bulldogs, they barely beat La Tech. Only won by 1, and that was because of a missed field goal at the end by the Louisiana Tech. Wolfpack blew out South Florida 45-0. Both had good total yards last week. NC State had 525, and Mississippi State had 435. NC State has lost 8 of its last 9 to SEC schools, which is kind of amazing. I didn't know that. These two teams are 3-3 their last 6 meetings. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN3, Nicholls at Louisiana. Both are 0-1. Louisiana was in that great battle last week against Texas, but this week they're playing Nicholls. It's a battle for the great state of Louisiana. 7 p.m. Eastern, no TV found for New Mexico State at New Mexico, which that kind of surprises me. That's a rivalry game. You figure some network would pick it up, but then again, New Mexico State is 0-2. Maybe all the networks said, yeah, we'll pass on that one. But still, 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, North Texas at SMU. Both are 1-0. Good North Texas battle. Both those teams are not bad at all, so might be worth watching that one if you feel like playing for streaming. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN3, Southeast Louisiana at La Tech. Another great battle for the great state of Louisiana. Lions are 1-0, and like I said, La Tech barely lost to Mississippi State last week. Probably should have won. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Stephen F. Austin at Texas Tech. Both teams are 1-0. East Texas versus West Texas. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Southern Illinois at Kansas State. 2-1-0 teams going at it. Another big one, people seem to think. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, Texas at Arkansas. Both teams started slow last week, but they both turned it on there towards the end. The final scores were similar last week. Texas won 38-18, and Arkansas won 38-17. So I guess we're going to see what happens there. Saturday night game with Arkansas is the first sellout since 2017. I didn't know Arkansas hadn't been selling out their games these last few years. That's kind of crazy. Like I said, both teams struggled last week. But the Razorbacks defense did force 3 interceptions last week. So that'd be something for that new quarterback at Texas. 79th meeting of these teams. Texas leads 56-22-1. Last time these two teams played was in 2014 Alamo Bowl, where Arkansas won 31-7. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Texas Southern at Baylor. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Texas State at Florida International. Something about these two, Baylor and Texas State. They played last week. Man, there are so many people bitching online about the quality of the broadcast on ESPN Plus with that Baylor Texas State game. A lot of people are yelling at the students, I guess, who are operating it, which is ridiculous. Most everybody's yelling at ESPN about it. So we'll see if these two teams here, if those games are straightened out and are a lot better than they were last week when they played each other. 7 p.m. Eastern, no TV found. Western Carolina at Oklahoma. I don't know. Oklahoma's such a big draw. I don't know why it wouldn't be on TV, but I don't make those decisions. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Austin Peay at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is planning to be back for this game as of today, Friday. I haven't read or heard anything if he is going to be there, but last Monday he was saying that he was probably going to, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow, maybe on one of the pregame shows or later tonight or something. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, no TV found. Georgia State at North Carolina. Tar Heels looking to bounce back from a Vautech loss. I'm wondering if maybe this one isn't on TV because of what happened last week. These networks are funny about that. 7:30 Eastern, Big Ten Network, Howard at Maryland. Maryland, please put those uniforms on you had last week. Those look good. Those are those good uniforms y'all used to wear before all this ridiculous crap that y'all put on the last several years, which I think is probably Randy Edsall's fault. But hopefully y'all wear those things because those are, man, all right, I'm done with that. 7:30 Eastern, BTN Network, Idaho at Indiana. Vandals looking to beat a big-time team. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, SEC Network, Missouri at Kentucky. Both are 1-0. Last week, Missouri had total yards of 468. Kentucky had 564. Kentucky quarterback Will Levis threw for 367 yards and 4 touchdowns. Mizzou quarterback Tyler Brody rushed for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mizzou running back, I'm sorry, not quarterback. Last week, Tigers only converted 1 of 3 downs out of 11 tries. 8 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network, Jacksonville State at Florida State. It's going to be interesting if Florida State is wore out from that overtime game last Sunday. That was a pretty good game. Seminoles are going to have to choose which quarterback to start, Travis or Milton, because they both played really good. Seminoles beat the Gamecocks last year, 41-24. Gamecocks were 10-3 last season, so they're a pretty good team. But even though they got shut out by UAB last week, so you never know. These FCS teams, they're always looking to jump up and upset an FBS team. I mean, yeah, this could happen this game. Who knows? 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, McNeese at LSU. I've seen these two teams play before on TV. I'm guessing because LSU lost last week. They said, nah, I'll put it on streaming. Interesting fact about this game, if you didn't know, Coach Orgeron's son is the starting quarterback at McNeese, Cody Orgeron. So you're going to have like an Orgeron versus Orgeron back and forth. So that might be pretty good. But last week, Cody Orgeron passed for 367 yards and a TD in their home opener. Last week, Tigers had terrible O-line play, and UCLA pretty much ran all over them all night. So 8 p.m. Eastern, ABC, Washington at Michigan. Okay, this game, back when I saw it back last spring or so when I got the preseason magazines, I said, okay, this could be a very good game. I remember the other times they've played, I think it was 02 and 03. They played in the regular season. Those were both good games. Rose Bowl battles, really good games. So I was really looking forward to this game plus I'm a Washington fan. And then last week happened. I don't know what the hell that was. Huskies, they just came out, laid down the field, thought they could win, just throw their helmets at Montana or whatever, and just thought they could win. That was a horrible loss. So I may watch this game, I may not. I don't know. I mean, that was just a horrible performance last week. So it kind of knocked some of luster off this game for me. I mean, I know Washington and Michigan diehard fans will watch it, but I don't know. I may watch it. Okay, all you Saturday late night football owls like me, here's your late night schedule. We'll be up together watching these games until 1 o'clock in the morning. 10 p.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, we'll be watching this one. No TV found. Cal Poly at Fresno State. Both are 1-0. And Bulldogs played a pretty good game last week against Oregon. 10 p.m. Eastern. Pac-12 Network. San Diego State at Arizona. Wildcats' new head coach, Jedd Fisch, trying to stop a now 13-game losing streak at Arizona. It goes back to last year. And yeah. Arizona's won the past 4 meetings between these two schools. Although last time they played each other was 20 years ago. So, I don't know. 10 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Vanderbilt at Colorado State. Both teams lost to FCS schools last week. I actually watched the San Diego State and Colorado, or South Dakota State, I'm sorry. I watched that game versus Colorado State, and that was a pretty good game. I didn't watch the Vanderbilt game, so I don't know how bad they looked. 10:15 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Utah at BYU. Rivalry game, the Holy War. This game is usually a pretty good game. Both teams play the heck out of each other. You know, they want to be able to claim the rights in the state of Utah there. So usually it's a pretty entertaining game. So if you're up late, definitely check it out. Utah has won 9 of the last matchups and leads the series 63-34 and 4 ties. 8 of the last 10 meetings have been decided by 8 points or less. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't watch it, just keep an eye on the score, because it's usually a pretty entertaining matchup between these two. 10:30 Eastern. No TV found. Idaho State at Nevada. Wolfpack getting screwed out of some TV time there. And so was who's Idaho State? Bengals, Tigers, or something. They both got screwed out of TV time. All right. 10:30 Eastern on Fox. Stanford at USC. 2 programs who were once up here. Let me get the camera angle. Up here. Now they're kind of like down here. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. David Shaw's a good coach. I don't know what's going on there at Stanford. And from what I understand from USC fans, they want Clay Helton out of there. So, I don't know. I may watch that. Who knows? 2016 was the last 10-win season for Stanford, which is crazy because it always seemed like they had a good team for years. 10:30 Eastern, ESPN2, UNLV at Arizona State. Get this, Sun Devils had 13 penalties for 135 yards in their first game. 11 of those were in the first half, so you don't think Herm Edwards was pissed, do you? UNLV lost to Eastern Washington in double overtime by 2 points last week. Rebels have a good running game, but a mediocre passing game. So, okay, here we go. The last game of the night. It is on TV. So it starts at 11 p.m. Eastern, so it'll probably be over about, 2 in the morning? It is Hawaii at Oregon State. Rainbow Warriors are 1-1. Beavers are looking for their first win of the season. This will be another one of those first games with fans back in the stands at Reser Stadium since 2019. There's 3 or 4 games I mentioned where the fans are going to be back for the first time in a couple of years. That's pretty cool. Hawaii quarterback Chevan Cordero threw for 305 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. That's it. We'll be back on Tuesday to review these games, talk about any upsets, surprises, horrible performances, and all the crazy stuff that happens tonight and Saturday. Once again, hey, if you like it, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. We're going to be doing this all college sports year. We're going to go over basketball. I know a bunch of basketball teams just released their schedules. I think the entire Big Ten released their basketball schedule for this year. We'll go through baseball, softball. And hey, like I said before, if your school has a big match, this is college sports. Swimming, volleyball, field hockey, lacrosse, wrestling, whatever. Put it down in the comments. Let other people know what it is, why it's so big, and where they can watch it at. Because, like I said, most college sports talk is about football, basketball, baseball, and some softball. I mean, let's face it, that's just what it is. But no college sport here is off limit. If you think somebody should check out a certain sport at school, stick it in the comments. Let people know there's people out there that are interested in other college sports instead of just the ones we always talk about on here. So anyway, I've wasted enough of your time. I'm sure your boss is pissed off at you because you're screwing around on the internet instead of finishing up the workday. Like I said, we're back Tuesday with a show to review this weekend, tonight and tomorrow. Anyway, y'all have a safe weekend. Have fun. Enjoy all your football. And we'll see you back here on Tuesday.